Hello YouTube folks, this is Mike again. Hadn't put anything else out in a little while, so I thought I would put this out. It's October now, and this was recorded back in May, and I just ran across this video on my computer, and I had just never processed it up, so I thought I would go ahead and do that now, because it gives a pretty good look at how this driveway process works, really in a kind of an ideal situation. It's not always as straightforward a job as this, and so anyway, this kind of gives you, especially that shot right there, that gives you a really good look at how the machine interacts with the ground if you've got a nice base. So with this job, it was kind of a refresh on this driveway. She just wanted, she wanted the edges of the lines, or lines on the edges of the driveways recut. You can see where I had put painted a line down there. I just pulled string lines down the edges of the driveway, so it would be really well defined, and painted the lines there and cut to them. So I was doing that, and it's got some grass and vegetation, weeds and stuff coming up through it, and so she wanted to kind of get ahead of that. It kind of started to get away from her a little bit, so this takes care of that for a little while. The weeds and wiregrass, it's gonna come back no matter what you do with it. So, but this kind of helps you get ahead of it. So. But you can see that, I'm doing multiple passes here. A lot of times, either if a driveway has been neglected for a really long time, a lot of the material on the top will just either wash away, or, there's just really not much there to work with. So sometimes I can't really dig down into the base, because you end up getting into either the sort of the bedrock or whatever base rocks were put down to build the driveway on. And ideally you want to leave that stuff alone, and you don't want to dig that stuff up, getting into the ballast and all that stuff. So in this one, it had a nice thick base on it, so I could really dig down and get it all mixed in. I just thought it ended up looking really, really nice. That's kind of ideal right there. So yeah, and you can see I'm getting a nice clean edge cut there. You might notice that one side there's a little wing that sticks out in front of the drum that's turning there. But I only have one on the right side. I had two of them, and I think I bent one of them up, and so I got a replacement set, and then ended up bending those up too. But I've got those straightened back out, and they're fine. But you see it kind of windrows on this side where the wing is not, but the other side, the material gets constrained by that piece of steel. And when you have both on there, you really get this nice box blade effect. I came through this time, and I've got the whole thing tilted 25 degrees, pushing from basically right to left, or from the close side to the far side. And I don't remember why, but I must have thought that I needed more material on that side, so I just did that to push it over there. And it's kind of hard to tell the angle of the thing the way I've got the camera sitting here. But anyway, so that was a prep that went really well. So basically there was this. It wasn't all that long, and then there was a parking area at the top. I don't really have any video of that. I've got some pictures at the end as to what that looks like. So. And we decided to go ahead and put a load of gravel on the whole thing. She needed some more gravel added up at the top, mostly, but we went ahead and just took one load and just spread it out all over the whole thing. This is Chester Scott, he's the best driver, best dump truck driver I've seen. He's really an artist with the truck, and so you'll see him. I've got it sped up here, but he just went and covered that whole top area there, and I just had to touch it up just a little bit, and he pretty much had everything covered by the time he left, and it just worked out really well. So here's the final pass. I just had just a little bit I had to rake out at the end, because he gets to the end of this, and he knew he was almost out of gravel, but he had to stop driving before he just couldn't pour right out into the road, so he had to stop before he got to the end of the road, and so I had a little tiny bit of a pile there that I had to rake out, but no big deal at all. And so usually once I get the gravel in, I'll go back and just kind of touch it up and make sure everything's the way I want it, and then I'll go back and run the roller over it. This one's almost entirely flat. It rises a little bit at the end up there, but if you could ever get away with not rolling one, this probably would have been fine. But as I've said in a previous video, it's always best if you have the opportunity to roll it or have the ability to roll it, it's always best to do that. So I always do it. I'm pretty sure, again, this was 5 months ago, but I'm pretty sure I rolled it after I did the initial rake out. So I always like to get the subgrade level as locked in as I can, and then put gravel on top of it, and then compact that down on top of it as well. So here, of course, I've sped it up again, and am now up there raking out the parking area. When you're running these, the rake and the roller over these long stretches, it's really easy to make it look really nice. But when you're running it back and forth over a parking area or some kind of oddly shaped area, it's a little bit tricky, because the Bobcat a lot of times is working against you if you're not real careful about how you drive it, because you're kind of fixing something with one end of it and the other end is tearing stuff up. So I always try to make just very gentle turns as I'm doing those rollouts in the parking areas. But doing these long straight stretches like this is really pretty straightforward, and it's pretty easy to make it look nice. Just keep the machine going in the same direction. So, and that's pretty much it. But this one came out real nice, and I thought was a good example of what it is that I do and how I do it. So hope you enjoyed it. I've got just a couple before and after shots at the end here. That was a screenshot out of the initial video that I took when I first came and looked at it, and that's what it looked like when I got done. So anyway, thanks for watching. Comment, let me know if you have any questions, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.